Hi, students. Welcome to the managerial case study for the November 2024 and 25. Now, students, I believe that you have gone through this case study in detail, but students, you have to understand these case studies are very, very essential when it comes to the application skills that is relevant in the examination. Now, students, if you observe this company, Shiny Glass, they are effectively a manufacturing firm. So they manufacture double glazed glasses for the windows of organizations like homes and also companies. Now, students, I'll just write down the term here, double glaze, because that is a very, very important commercial term the students needs to keep in mind. Now, students, before I go through this in detail, I just want to guide you with a very, very important fact that we have to observe in this case study. Now, students, you see this Shiny Glass, okay? This is the company we have. They effectively have a factory. Now, that is clear, no, students. They have a manufacturing firm that is their factory within their control. Now, students, in this case study, there is a very, very differentiated point of view that the students should be able to understand because as a manager, this will be your challenges in the examination. Now, students, if you observe, there is something called the upstream supply chain. That means the people who provide you raw materials for your production. Now, students, in this case, there is a third party. There are third party suppliers in this case who are effectively providing us with the raw materials. And they have been very, very specific with the raw materials like the sealed unit because this is very, very, very important raw material because this will eventually protect the houses from the heat because heat absorption is very, very important during winter. And then students, they have third-party suppliers to give fittings, and also students, they have brackets, hinges, and locks. Now, these are very, very important things that you have to keep in mind because students, there can be a situation where there is a supply chain issue from the upstream supply chain where the company is not getting raw materials on time. So this will have an issue with the production process also. So just remember that, students. Now the next thing is, students, the downstream supply chain, how the product goes to the hands of the customer. Now, students, in this case, we have sales representatives, but they are not full-time employees. They are working on a commission basis, students. So in this case, you have to be very, 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 very careful because they are selling the products just for the commission what they are going to receive. So there can be misinformation. So I'm going to write down here, students, misinformation provided by the sales representative because that is very, 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 very critical when you're doing the business application. Now, students, another thing that you have to keep in mind, which is very, very, very important and essential in this case is, students, more than misinformation, students, there can be situation like legal provisions. Students, legal provisions, because one promise given by the sales representative, which is not in the clause of the factory because of the commission they may give. So I can just write down here IAS 37 for your information, students. And also, students, there can be situations like IFRS 15, which is revenue contracts also coming in place. And another challenge, students, with this case study is after the sales representatives gives the idea, the issue is we have another outsourced agent that is the installers. Now, students, we don't have our own installers. We have outsourced this to around 40 companies in random basis. Whoever comes in first, we are going to give them this installing. Now, students, again, I told you there can be situations where the installers are installing the product in a wrong method, which is eventually affecting our business. So students, just for your ideation, you have to be very much aware about concepts like TQM, which is very, very important. And then students, there are concepts, especially like the cost transformation model from CIMA, the CGMA cost transformation model, which is very, very important. And then students, there is a very, very important area, which is the integrated reporting. So these are the core areas, students, you have to keep in mind. And students, as usual, there will be a question on business models, which you have to be very much aware from the case study informations they are providing. And also students, the analysis of risk, because risk is an area which is always tested in your examination. So I hope students, this is giving you a better clarity at the moment to understand the application and how you have to prepare your mindset towards the examination. So students, I hope this is giving you a better clarity. That is our factory. But there is third-party suppliers, there are outsourced, or I can say freelance sales representative and installers. So students, in our exam point of view, if you are thinking like the manager, managing the factory is under your control. But managing the third party, you have to build system. Managing the freelance employees of sales, you have to build systems. And installing point of view, you have to build systems. Because building systems is where the examiner will be concerned about your thinking ability. Thank you, students. Now, students coming into the application here, the introduction, anyway, they will give you the idea, and you are, of course, the finance manager. And I believe this is very, very critical and aware for the students that you are the finance manager. And the double glazing, I told you students, this is the product data, and students no need to memorize this in detail, but just have an idea of this. Then the double glazing industry. This time students, they have given a very, very simplified industry students. It's not complicated at all. As I told you, our business process is mostly complicated and the company data has been given. And one unique thing is we are not aware about the founding story, who founded the company, and they have not given very much particular data with regards to listed or unlisted and the shareholders proportion of holding. These are one thing that we can keep in mind, because in the exam they can ask you questions with regard to EPS, they can ask with regards to the ratios, and as usual they may ask question with regards to the financing, the WACC element. All these things are tested in the examination, so you have to be prepared. And manufacturing students, they have given the process, but we have to think about TQM, Kaizen, how we can transform the cost, and also sustainability, integrated reporting. And the sales students, once again, here IFRS 15 can come into the picture, but the biggest problem we have is the control issues, because the sales representatives have the authority to give 60% discount as per the information in the precinct. And installation is also students' third party. Again, we have to make sure we have systems in place to monitor themselves. And the head office and the factory, this is the area they have given. And the board structure students, they have given an NED plus an executive department. So you have to have an idea of that. And the business model, which is a triple star section, that the students should have an idea, because anyway they will give you understanding. Now students, we don't manufacture anything on wooden basis, but there can be proportional in the examination with regards to that. Annual report students, I will be doing in the financial analysis class, so that you will get the understanding. And the news report and the extract is also done in the SWOT analysis class more in detail. So students, today is just the overview of these cases. Now students, as usual, the introduction. Shiny Glass manufactures double glazed windows for doors for installation in domestic and business properties. So students, you have two clientele. One is the domestic client and the other one is the business property client. Now students, if you observe like bank, they may want something like bulletproof glass. Because students, if you observe, they have mentioned something like burglar proof glass. That means it's very difficult for the burglar to break it. But students, there can be money is taking place. So bulletproof glass is important. And Templan currency is T dollar. Students, there can be international expansion. Because currently in our organization, we are only focusing on Templan. But in your exam day, there can be international expansion. Company law requires companies to prepare their financial statement in accordance with IFRS standards. That is the IFRS standard. And as I told you, question 4 in the examination always focuses on IFRS standard. You are a finance manager at Shiny Glass head office. Your primary responsibilities are associated with management accounting, and you report to Martin Tawani, the senior finance manager who reports directly to the finance director. Now, students, these are monotonous data which is always there in the exam day. But students, you have to understand now you are finance manager. So business understanding is more important than technical understanding. So you have to change your frame considering the operational case study. Now, students, this is the basic data about the double glazing glasses. Now, students, again, the traditional windows consist of single panes. Like in Asian countries, we generally have single panes because generally we are having a very good climate of glass mounted with wooden frames. Single glaze windows are relatively easy to install and repair also. Correct, no students? And one thing, it will break soon. Now, if you're having example, children playing cricket near your corridors, sometimes they can break the glasses. Unfortunately, single glaze windows are not particularly good in preventing heat loss. Now, students, heat loss is a very, very important factor that is need to be considered considering Templan, the local region, students, because I think this region is affected by the winter. So there needs to be heat retention. Heat can be conducted through windows, cold airs, and also come through the gaps in the wooden frame. And the single glazed house can lose up to 70% of heat of windows depending on the construction. So students, if you observe, our company is producing double glaze. So the advantage is, students, there can be a shift in the demand from single frame to double glaze. And also students, in the examination, just for idea, there can be triple also, right? Students, triple glaze also can come depending on situation, students, because every time market is improving day by day. Double glazed windows have two panes of glass with a seal space between them. The two panes glass permit as much as less through conduction of single panes. The seal space between the frame is filled with either air, inert gas of argon, which can reduce the heat loss. Now, students, one thing is we are very much careful about the third party supplier because we have the manufacturing process, but the raw material quality is very, very important. So I will just write down here, students, the value chain is a very, 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 very important factor to be considered. House fitted with double glazing tend to lose less heat through their windows and single glaze home. A typical double glaze house will lose 10 to 15% of the heat through the windows. Double glazing is frequently marketed on the basis that it retains heat within building and so reduces both heating cost, carbon emission, and also sustainable investment for a property owner. So students, again, the heat factor is one thing that is important. Double glazing is also marketed on the basic. It acts as a sound barrier against street noise and effective on reducing noise also. Double glazing also is quite robust compared with single glazing, which make it difficult for intruders to break the property. It's, however, still possible to break the double glass windows. That's what I told you. There can be misinformation by the sales representative. So understand it clearly. Misinformation by sales representatives, and this will lead to a legal contractual obligation because legal issues can come, students. I am 100% sure. So please make sure you are very much aware about the standard IAS 37, which is very, 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 very crucial and critical also. The glass used in double glazing is supplied from a sealed unit. Now, students, this is a third party. We get this sealed unit from third party suppliers. And students, if they provide us low quality standard, this can be an issue. That's what I told you. You have to recall TQM, total quality management, in the examination. The seal unit consists of two panes of glasses which are joined around the edges of the space bar. The glass and spacers are held together using adhesive that creates a solid seal. So students, this process of connecting this is only in the hands of us. So students, understand it very well. This red color area is where the heat resistance is taking place. It is important that the seal remains secure. Otherwise, moisture can be absorbed into the void within the sealed unit, which permits condensation within the windows. That is unsightly that blocks the occupants from the outside. Seal can fail, either become manufacturing defect because caused by the expansion of contraction due to the changes over time. These failures might not occur until years after installation. Now, students, again, installation word has been used. Now, again, if you observe, our company does not have an in-house installation unit. Now, these are the investment appraisal questions that can come in the examination. We have to evaluate whether we have to have this or no, considering the sensitivity of the market requirement. Most window glasses are manufactured using float glass method, which is floating molded glass are built in the metal and high quality uniform and flatness and thickness. This process requires clarity and low distortion. Float glass can be further processed and changed in its character. Toughened glass is more difficult to break through the normal glass, which make it suitable for large windows for application requiring high security. Toughened glass also offer greater safety because it breaks its tiny granules and do not help sharp edges. Normal glass will shatter into jagged shards and which cause serious injury in an event of accident also. So students, injury has been mentioned. So again, students, a legal claim can come into the picture where there is small children or there is working environmental issues. Laminated safety glass consists of two layers of glass which has been fused together with resins and layer. It is difficult to break through the laminated glass because of the resin layers. Even when it is broken, it enhances security. Laminated glass also is safe because of a broken window will crack but not release fragment of glass and cause injury. So here the frosted glass is opaque, which offers greater privacy and clear glass. It blurs the images through the windows. That means you can't see. So privacy factor is also there. So these are the glass types they have, students. A soundproof glass reflects more external noise from the normal floor. This make it more suitable for noisy environment application where external sound would create problems such as recording studios. Sealed units can make use of float glass and any other alternative. For example, large windows that goes from the floor to ceiling level could be made using laminated or toughened glass, or anyone who falls through windows not cut through the shard glass. Sealed glass itself is fixed with frames. Frames are designed to conceal the space bar. Windows have design with all the allow the cheapest design and the hinges opening. So all these things you can have an idea, students. These are purely the product portfolios, And as I told you, don't spend too much of time on industry analysis. Make sure you understand the company issues because you are effectively working for this organization. Now, students, UPVC. Now, one thing I have to say, we have the first mover advantage in template because we were the first company to introduce the UPLC, PVC. And also, students, there are environmental issues as well you have to keep in mind because, students, this is having a lot of issues with regards to recycling as well. UPVC is a type of plastic that can be used to make window frames. It can be strong and fitted directly into the brickwork with no need of wooden subframe. UPVC is supplied by box section and reinforced internally with galvanized steel and aluminium. UPVC is usually supplied as a bright white box section which can be manufactured with an artificial wood grain and a texture. It is weather resistant and does not discover the exposure of the moisture and sunlight. So in aluminium, windows frames were popular before the induction of UPVC and are very durable. And aluminium is also one of our product of shiny glass because we effectively produce aluminium also. And highly applicable and strength, for example, aluminium frames are fitted directly into the brickwork and usually built into hardwood subframe. And this will can corrode over the time. So students, one thing you have to understand, aluminium may be a little bit of expensive considering plastic and the wood. Now, students, wood we don't have. So I'll write down here, it's a business opportunity that we can utilize in the future as well, students. Wooden windows frames can be made either softwood or hardwood. Some companies prefer wood because of its attractive natural materials also, and the wooden tends to be more expensive than aluminium. That the students here is again the integrated reporting, because natural capital, if you want to use wood, you have to sacrifice the trees. Natural capital will get affected. So in this case, there will be some questions with regards to how are you sustainably making sure things are managed properly. Now, students, the next thing in this case, wooden frames are made from lengths of timber that join together using techniques such as mortise and tenon joints. Adhesive fasteners such as nails, pegs, screws, industrial robots can be used. Now, students, this can be a business opportunity. Remember that, students, industrial robots. I don't think in our manufacturing unit we have robots at the moment, but robots can come in a question. Keep that in mind. UPVC and aluminium frames are made out of pre-formed section of material. These are supplied in long length. Steel units and frames are double glazed as well. So the double glazing doors and windows, for example, are used in shopping and laminated glass, and these are the product segments. So students coming into the double glazing industry, so window doors fabricators, there are very large companies. Now we are doing this, students. As we see the shiny glass, we have this as well. Large fabrication, national identities, products, newspaper, magazines, all these things are there. And the seal unit manufacturers. Now, students, we don't manufacture seal units, we buy it from a third party. So we have to be very, very careful with that. And window and door installer, again, we have outsourced to a third party. Now, students, these how the things work. So in this case, Shiny Glass is here, and Shiny Glass has effectively outsourced these two things to another partner. And repair and maintenance is again a question mark, whether do we have this function, because we are giving 10 years guarantee, students. How many years guarantee? 10 years guarantee at the moment. So these are the questions that can arise. Now, students, major window and door fabricators. Now, if you observe, our company is almost very much high market leader position at the moment. And students, Westland and Platislim and Trend. Now, students, market leader may get affected due to disruptions. There can be new technology coming in the market. As I told you, triple glaze can come into the market. So keep that in mind, students. Now, these companies account 45% of Templandian market share. So I can say this is like a wolf gang industry. They have formulated their business successfully. None of the major fabricators supply third party. Okay, none of the major fabricators supply third party installers. So here we have something called the Shiny Glass, our company. Now again, students, this time again, they have not spent more time, but they have given some hints about the industrial challenges we may face. Shiny Glass founded in 1962. I'll just write down here ML, market leader, students, growing rapidly during the double glazing time. And Shiny Glass grew rapidly, and by 1990 established itself as a window and door fabricator. We are not an installer, we are not a manufacturer of these items, the sealed items, but double glazing, we are a good fabricator. The company focused on product quality, customer service, all those things they are giving. And by 2000, it was having a demand for replacement also. And students, the biggest problem is they have not given anything regarding to the founder's story. They have not given anything regarding whether when they got listed in the stock market. So these are the questions we have to keep in mind. Manufacturing process, students, as I told you, they are very good in UPVC manufacturing as well. And the biggest challenge is, students, they effectively buy these things from third party. Shiny also buys fittings, including brackets, hinges from third party. So you have to be very, 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 very careful with that. And factory buys seals unit appropriate size from third party manufacturer. So that is one thing that you have to see. And they are computer numerical control equipment, but students, robots can come in the future. So please remember, robots can come. There can be job loss because of robots taking over the jobs which are unskilled. And students, this is very, very important section because I told you sales. Now, sales function is very important and they are effectively doing push, not pull, it is push. They are pushing their products to the market. And that's what I told the students. They're giving so much of discounts to the people. So this will become a bigger challenge considering the challenges. Tiny Gas advertise on TV, newspapers, and they have the average annual commission of $55,000, which is 50% greater than the national salespeople salary. You have to have an idea about these students, and these are the product portfolio they are giving, the sales discount, everything. And students, you have to understand there is a 5% deposit you have to keep in mind. I told you the IFRS 15 may come into the picture for your ideation. And also, students, I have told you the maximum commission paid is 25%. And if anyone is giving more than 45% discount, no commission. No commissions there. So installation. Now again, students, I told you installation is also a third party network they have. Again, that is a challenge. Installers can make some mistakes which can affect. And as you observe here, we have marketing, we have sales also, students. But the sales department, the biggest challenge we have is we are giving freelancers, 240 in the head office and 160 in the factory. So there is a question of doubt whether is it essential to have 240 staffs, operational functions, the customer care, because which is important because we have 10 years guarantee. So after sales service is very important. A product development unit, administration function, and production. So students, there can be questions on project management. There can be questions with regards to intangible assets in case if you have any patenting, IAS 38 can come into the picture. And students, here you have the shiny glass, the board structure has been given. And students, we have to focus on issues like IT department and HR can be separated, students, because if you see finance director is managing the HR, so HR can become a differentiated segment also. So students, this is the business model. Again, I'll put a triple star for this. This is always tested in the exam. Now, Shiny Glass work closely with number of stakeholders. The company provides customers with excellent quality doors, windows. In order to do, Shiny Glass work closely with suppliers of sealed units and materials, maintain product quality, and salespeople and installers rely on Shiny Glass to provide source of income. So, students, the problem is they are following the push model and they are saying they have excellent quality. I agree with that 10 years warranty, they are saying so. But the biggest question is how they are distributing is still a challenge because now you have websites. You can make sure your websites are used properly. Customers can order, and within 24 hours, you can make sure the products are delivered. So creating value creates large to engagement of network partners, primarily installation service. But in this case, students, they have not mentioned anything with regards to the double glaze creating. Because students, if you observe the creation of value effectively because of their heat absorbing technology they have. Because students, that is very important. Delivering. Now, in this case only, students, the installers and the salesmen should come into the picture. Students, in this case, they have not mentioned about the builders because you have to have good relationship with the builders also. Capturing residual value because students, if you observe, they are giving commissions to the people and also students, their prices may be a little bit premium also. But the biggest problem is the commissions what they are paying is really high, students, because 25% commission if they are paying, there is manufacturing cost also to be considered. So these are the major factors you have to keep in mind. And students, in the SWOT analysis class, I will be doing the detailed application of all these articles. But one thing, students, you have to observe this diagram very well because we are in the black color section, not in the blue or the green or the red. So keep that in mind. So thank you very much, students. Happy learning. Take care. All the very best, students.